And welcome everybody to another Games Talk. No, sorry. This is the Fawn's Gaming channel. Or gaming. What were you guys calling it on your show?
Gaming channel, yes.
Gaming channel.
This is the gaming channel.
All right, so these guys just wrapped up a podcast about 45 minutes ago, and they decided to join me today because, well, why the hell not, right? 4-hour marathon, right? Let's do it. I have my good friend Ian and don't know who this is. It's Mark. It's Mark from the Just Gaming podcast. He looks like who's the guy from Harry Potter? Snipe? Oh man,
Snape.
See, I don't even know Harry Potter stuff. I don't try.
I think the best part is I think his camera's like frozen or busted or something.
It's gotta be.
He's not
blinking or anything.
No,
internet problems. Okay.
Yeah.
He is not here right now. But anyway, Ian, welcome, man.
Yeah.
It's good to have you again.
Hi.
Just Gaming Podcast. You guys are doing big things over there on the Legendary Drops channel, which I did change the title now to @Legendary Drops. So you can just click that, go over to their channel, subscribe. These guys are good guys, gamers through and through, and they have a hell of a channel. So anyways, welcome.
Thank you for having us again.
So, tell everybody out there a little bit about why Mark is stuck in limbo here. What's going on with Mark?
So Mark lives in a state in which they do not have the best internet. And his internet's bad. You can see Mark is actually in YouTube chat. So he's having some internet connection issues today, apparently.
Somebody said he looks like Dave Grohl. Kind of does right there. A little bit.
Yeah, it's too bad he doesn't play drums. It'd make him a lot cooler.
Yeah. I apologize, Tom. He says it's a bit too late for a Brit. You know, he's got work in the morning. He can't stay up tonight and watch this. So my apologies, Tom. I know it's pretty late for you guys, but now they're going to be changing this whole time thing. We're going to be staying in daylight savings, I believe, when we change times, and there will be no more changing after that.
They announced that last year, didn't they?
Yeah, and I guess it's going to happen this year, finally.
So this is just permanently the time we are in.
Once it changes in spring. So they're still going to spring forward, and then they're going to stop completely, and then we're, stop. Mark, call back, Mark. There he goes.
There he goes.
He's gone.
He'll make his way in.
There he is, Snape. Welcome.
I'm glad to be here, Fonz, on the Gaming Talk Live.
Well, we're happy to have you. Let me welcome everybody in the chat right now. I see all these good people in the chat. Got my good friend and moderator, Boss Mod Lethal Papa, the best moderator in the game. He's out there looking for craziness and foolery, and right now he'd probably block you, Mark, for just the weirdness going. No, he would not. What's up with the wig, man? What's up with that?
You said we were talking Hogwarts, bro.
Oh,
I got my wand. I'm ready to go.
Oh, we're going to be talking Hogwarts a little bit later, but yeah.
Hogwarts, baby.
That. Yes, we'll get into Hogwarts.
I can't take this guy anywhere.
Weird. No. Now you just messed up your hair.
You should have seen it before. It was terrible. It looks even better. I'm wearing a Velcro shirt. There it is.
I see you, Infinite Umbra. It's good to see you in the house. Boba Fett, you too. Some great people here today. Let's talk a little bit about this article that came out recently about 6 days ago. This is coming from gamesindustry.biz, and the writer for this piece was Brendan Sinclair, and the headline was Microsoft confirms Game Pass cannibalizes game sales, stating in the article that Xbox maker tells UKCMA it expects titles to see a decline in base game sales for at least a year following inclusion into the subscription service. Have you guys read this, and what are your takes on this? I'll start with you, Mark.
Yeah, I did read it. Was it saying for a year or after a year?
I think it's saying for that year that follows the initial launch into the subscription service. Okay. I can't even talk.
Okay, so because the article doesn't really explain what's going on. Because if it's saying that it's what happens after a year, most games drop off in sales after 6 months. So I don't understand. I don't know if it's like a nothing burger, or I mean, the fact that is the article saying that for that first year that it's in Game Pass, it's not getting its revenues.
I honestly think the year is kind of irrelevant to say, because you're right. They do tend to drop off after 6 months, but within that, even first 6 months, of course they do. But Ian, what do you feel about this? What's your thoughts?
Man, I feel like, honestly, I feel like the discussion of like the 12 months is kind of null. I feel like I feel like it would be pretty obvious, right? Like, of course, you're going to have less people buying your games because they're subscribing to your service, which is, I would imagine, what they thought was going to happen. Now, this is something I really only believe that's only going on with AAA titles, not with the indie ones. Since like the indie titles kind of fall off, like they'll pop on Game Pass for a couple months and then they'll fall off. Maybe you want to go back and finish that game or play that game or something like that. But the AAA titles, the Microsoft first-party titles that are always going to stay on there, why would you expect them to sell? Like, who's going to buy Starfield? You're not. You're going to have it on Game Pass, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Gears of War. Why would I buy Gears of War? I have Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's like, duh, of course, games aren't going to be selling as well if you put them into a subscription service that people pay for to consume them. I mean, at the end of the day, us being the consumers, we have other digital services too. We have Netflix. Do you see people buying Netflix shows and movies and stuff? No. Not for the most part. Some people might buy a box set of something, just to have it or whatever, but those are like the collectors or whatever. But the majority of the masses out there, the people, are just not going to do that. They're going to watch something and be done with it. Same thing with gaming here. I think it's ridiculous. And I think the push here really seems to be like it's kind of putting a negative light on Game Pass. That's what I think they're striving to do. Like, it's bad. Game Pass bad. You can't have this, and it's really not right. I mean, from my outlook and even from the journalist's outlook, why does he care so much about anything else other than himself or the consumers? Like, as a consumer, I only care about my own damn wallet. I don't care what's going on with the corporations or even the business side of things, the developers and stuff. Sure, do I want them to get paid? Of course, but that's not my dealings. That's not my problem. My own thought process is that I'm going to look out for my own wallet, and that's it.
Yeah, well, it kind of makes sense. I mean, not the article. I'm just saying what Microsoft's doing. So they transitioned all the way to Game Pass. That's their business model, is Game Pass. That's what they want. They want you to do their service. So like with Redfall, for instance, coming up, the DLC for it's not part of the Game Pass.
No
part of it. So they want you to pay an extra $30. So that's where they're going to get the icing on top of the cake. They've already got you for me. They've got me for $14.99 a month.
Yep. And
then on top of it, they're going to try to get another $30 out of it for that. But yeah, this guy writing this article, to me, the way it read, it feels like a nothing burger if you're going to sit there and say a game loses its sales after a year. Obviously it does. It's not unless you're a subscription game in itself, it's just going to lose its money. It just does.
Yeah. So I just thought it was a weird article that's like, well, of course this happens, but at the end of the day, it's just like with any other service out there like this. A subscription service is a service that usually gives you more value, and that is what Game Pass is about. And that's all I give a shit about, is the value. I don't care what's going on behind the scenes, what you paid this developer, what you paid that developer. That's your own deal you make. Now, one could say that for some games, and there's been games that's been put on Game Pass that Game Pass, I think, saved. There was Outriders. That had a lot of engagement on Game Pass, and it got other people to buy that game that didn't want to be subscribed to Game Pass, friends of people that were playing, the game through Game Pass that wanted to play with, each other. They were buying the game. They were buying it because it was cross-platform. They were buying it on PlayStation and so forth as well. Not everybody's going to be a fan of Game Pass. So right now, I think that they're estimating about 25 plus million people in Game Pass right now. That isn't everybody. That's not close to everybody. So not everybody's going to want to subscribe to the service. So if they want to play a game, yeah, they're going to buy it. But these developers are getting paid and agreeing upon a certain amount to get paid for their games to be put in Game Pass. So I don't see what the problem is. I don't see what the issue is. I don't see why they're putting such a spotlight on Game Pass in a sort of negative way.
Well, and what they went with was, sorry, Ian, what they went with as a model was Forza. Okay, that's what they said. Okay, well, after a year, it's not going to sell as much. Well, no shit.
Yeah,
like there's not very many games that after a year, everyone's like, you know what, I need to go buy Forza. No, they're not, because it doesn't make any sense. Ian, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mark's having some issues today.
He's having a hard time. So to interject, like if I was one of these writers, like if they want to dog on Game Pass or subscription services, like why don't we actually try to have like a critical conversation surrounding it, right? Like what are the actual dangers to us getting into these subscription services? Like one of my biggest concerns is if subscription services take over, I don't know how much funding or how much profit or how much profitability these games will have coming from, whatever subscription service they're on. And my fear is that a lot of games are going to start turning towards more heavily microtransactions, more heavily getting into, these, part by part monetizations of their game.
Yeah. Well, Mark just mentioned that DLCs will cost you. They're not part of Game Pass. So will they start? I know what you're getting at. Will they start pulling away from, content from the game and holding some of it off for DLC later on down the road? We've seen Destiny do that. We've seen them do that. But in a subscription service, you're right. You could see more of that stuff happening. I hope that doesn't happen. But as of right now, the stuff that I'm seeing and the stuff that I'm able to play, I'm happy. I don't mind paying the $15 a month for Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, currently right now, I've gotten a ton of value out of Game Pass. It's done great for me on PC as well as being able to play it on my Xbox as well. Couch play games for the couch and more single player like performance heavy games.
And let's be honest, if a developer feels like they have been slighted in any way or feel like they didn't get as much as they should have, or they could have made more sales outside of Game Pass, then they shouldn't have put their game in Game Pass. They shouldn't have agreed to a deal. Whether that be the developers or the publishers, I don't care who deals with that. But whoever makes that deal, that's on you. That's none of my concern as a consumer. None. No. All I care about is what I'm getting within and for how much. That's all.
I think for the thought of it, I mean, Atomic Heart and Wulong will be the first, I think, like bigger titles to hit day and date for Game Pass as from third party. I'm trying to think of if there's any other that hit like day and date Game Pass, and I can't think of any other like big AAA titles that have. So those should be a good see how they do, see if there is any backlash. But this article it's not even quoting a developer. It's quoting Phil Spencer from like 2020 talking about Game Pass. A game's not going to sell after a year. So I don't know. I think the guy's kind of going after Xbox a little bit. And the thing is if they have the best online service for like games as a service, obviously they're going to be the guys to hate on, right? So it's the first one to go after, and Xbox makes themselves a pretty easy target for that. So
yeah, yep. And I said this to friends, and I say this all the time. If Sony decided tomorrow to put all their games day one on their service, I'd buy into their subscription service right away.
I would too.
I would do it.
Especially if they crossed it like with PC, like how Xbox does as well. Oh man, there'd be so many people on it.
Yeah. And what they're worried about is what you brought up, Ian. They're worried that, if they do put their games in there, then they won't make enough to say fund the next game or make it as big and as grandiose as the first game was. It won't be as they won't have as much funding for their games, their future games. And I don't know, if you do the math and you look at all the money that's being generated, even with 25 million people in a service, that's a lot of money for 10, $15 a month.
Yeah.
It's almost $5 billion a year.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of makes sense because they said they want to do four of their games, first party games a year, right? So at $5 billion a year, you could spend let's say if it's even a max AAA, 100 million, 150 million, $200 million game, you're still making a profit.
I like what Dave said in the chat. He said, "What games? There's only Spider-Man 2 this year."
They had a good year last year.
I'm assuming that they would, as they do all the time, money hat these third-party deals, these games. I would assume they would put some of those in their service as well. Just like Microsoft does. They put third-party games in there as well.
Yep.
But yeah, I would definitely sign up for it. If I got 3 games from huge games from PlayStation a year, I'd be a happy guy. I'd definitely sign up for it. But I don't know. It's strange to me every time somebody tries to put a negative spin on something that is pretty pro-consumer. It just makes me kind of angry. Like this is, if we like this, and not everybody has to. Now, chat, if you're out there and you're thinking, I'm not into Game Pass, I don't like the subscription model, it's not for me, more power to you. I'm not telling you should buy Game Pass. But for those of us that like it and feel that it's very pro-consumer, I mean, I don't understand why people are so negative on it. And I would like to know if there's somebody in the chat that doesn't like Game Pass, give me your reasoning on why. One of the reasons why I've heard, to play devil's advocate here, is they say game preservation, the fact that they want to own their games physically. They want to have that game, and keep it with them forever, because you never know what happens if you have Game Pass. Games come in and out of that service. But I'm the type of person where I don't hold on to games anymore. Like once I'm done with especially a single player game, I'm done.
Yeah, chances are I'm not going to play it again.
Yeah, I hardly ever go back to it. And what do I want to keep a plastic box for? Just sit there and look at it every day and go, I remember you. You were so good to me. Like, I wouldn't do that.
Oh my God. We've gotten to where I think people are starting to forget that since about 2014, 15, you put a game into your deal and it has to do a download. Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you get the physical copy or not. It like if they shut those servers down, that game's gone.
Yeah,
it's just gone. So
they had that issue with Ubisoft, right? Like they had games that they were shutting down completely. Whether you owned the game or not, it wasn't going to be playable.
Yeah, I remember they did it with Battleborn and a lot of other games out there. They just shut them down, and you can't play them anymore. But that's the chance you take when you buy a game like that, especially an always online game or whatever. And again, that's what people are having a problem with Redfall right now. Because they're all up in arms that this multiplayer game, you can play it single player though. Why do I have to be online to play it single? And I get that. I get that argument because I don't like single player games being always online. But at the same time, this game has always been marketed as a multiplayer game, an online game. So I don't know. It's kind of a slippery deal there. I don't think it's too much. I don't think it's something that people should really get too irate about. I really don't.
That same debate and discussion is going on with Diablo 4.
Really?
Yeah. The whole always online. Well, I've always played Diablo 2 or Diablo 3 solo, and it's like, well, they've always marketed this Diablo 4, like the Diablo experience is a cross-world multiplayer experience. It's not marketed as your single-player Diablo experience as like Diablo 1 or 2 were. Yeah. But there's a lot of people that are up in arms about it because it's always online and static world, a lot of like group related things that you can do because you can run into people and players like out in the world and out in towns and stuff.
I believe you'll be able to jump in and out of the game with friends too.
Mm-hmm.
as they're playing. The same thing with Redfall. And I think that's one of the reasons why they got that key component left in there, that online component. It's like I was talking to somebody today, and I was talking to him and telling him that, with the birth of online, being able to go online and stuff, and it relating to the gaming industry, it's kind of been a bad thing for in some ways, but then it's been phenomenal in others. And I think the pros way outweigh the cons when it comes to online connectivity and gaming. The fact that we can get patches and stuff is nice, but the fact that they rely on patches sometimes day one is bad. And, there's a constant struggle there with thinking about this stuff sometimes, because I love the fact that they can fix games, but I just wish they would release, not broken in the first place.
You're talking to PC players here, bud. Yeah, we live with it every day.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I know. Oh,
it's like I told Mark today, I saw on PC Gamer or something like that today. It's like PC gamers are tired of busted ports. It's like,
well,
it's like every game.
Yeah, that happens. Let me get this super chat real quick. Brigadier's Blue every week. He sends me a super chat. I wasn't here last week, guys, but I was up in the mountains. Tell this story real quick. So I'm up in the Northern Californian mountains, and I'm searching for Bigfoot, or Sasquatch, as the Native Americans would have you believe its name to be. I was up there looking for him. I could not find him. Could not find him anywhere. Blurry Squatch, nothing. I didn't get anything on film. Nothing. I don't even think he exists at this point. No Squatch.
How
now,
dare you?
I will say that the one thing that was crazy as I'm up there and I'm looking for Sasquatch or Sasquatch. As I'm looking for Sasquatch, I hear on the radio that there's spy balloons in the air.
Ooh.
So I start looking for spy balloons. Did not see any spy balloons either. So I'm sad to report
spy
that I did
balloons
not find
or
anything.
UFOs.
UFOs too. No UFOs. No spy balloons. And no Sasquatch.
This wasn't a very X-Files vacation.
Yeah,
but I tried, bro. It was a total bust. The cottage was beautiful, though. The family was beautiful. The snow was beautiful, but no Sasquatch. No UFOs. So sorry. Brigadier's Blue, sorry to get back to your super chat. See, I'm sorry. Happy GTL Sunday, everyone. Hope you all have been enjoying all the great games we had so far this year, with many more on the horizon. Yes, we've got many more on the horizon for sure. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you. But
Did you ever watch In Search of Sasquatch with Leonard Nimoy?
Oh, In Search of. That show was amazing. In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. As a kid, that scared the crap out of me, that show.
Did it?
That one. And then there was another one. I think it was called Tales from the Dark Side. That was pretty creepy too.
I was even as a kid, I was always really obsessed with old school TV, like 1970s, 1980s stuff.
Oh yeah, I lived
Tales
it.
from the Crypt and stuff
like
that.
I lived it. You just experienced it later on.
You watched it live.
Yeah, it was live for me. I'm sitting there. Yeah.
Sorry,
God,
Bon.
I'm so old, people.
Hey, at least I'm cultured. Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah. At least you knew about it. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Ian. Me and Mark are old guys that lived through it.
I'm carrying the torch.
God, remember That's Incredible, Mark? The TV show.
Yeah, it was incredible.
No, it really wasn't, but it was a show.
I used to run around making the bionic man noise.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that too. But I thought you were doing the bionic woman noise. That sounds more like the.
You know what I don't like is your tone. That's awful.
That's your tone. Yep, my tone. Twilight Zone was a great one too. I See You, Firestarter. Yeah, people, I got some old heads in the house. That's who shows up here for the geriatric hour. It's all old people. I mean, you can tell by the 1970 Chrome Pony in the chat. That's his name, 1970 Chrome Pony. He's got to be old, right?
Yeah, probably.
He says hello, chat and cast. That's Incredible was amazing. Nah, not really Scotsy, but yeah, they did some stupid stuff on there. I remember when they did the world's largest domino thing, and Yeah, it's weird. Anyways, getting back to the topic here. So one thing I wanted to ask you relating to all this Game Pass subscription services and stuff is the death of physical games. Now, I see this happening eventually. But my question to you guys is, do you see this happening within the next 15 years?
Yeah. It's already happened. I mean,
it's already happening. Yes,
I mean, but it's not that it's even already. It's not even already happened. I mean, what is your disc? What does your disc even have on it other than just a digital key that unlocks the download for a game?
Well, that is some games, but there are games out there. There are PlayStation games out there anyway. That they're first-party games. You can play them on the disc, not being online. Now, you might play a pretty busted game if you didn't download a patch. Yeah. But most games now, without that day one patch, are either busted or, like you said, being a digital key, they're just there to download the game. So a lot of them are just coasters.
I would argue, I would not be surprised that the next console generation does not have disk drives.
Yep.
Yeah, they already dipped their foot this time around. Both PlayStation and Xbox came out with consoles that do not have disk drives. They gave you one with one and one without. Which one do you want? You want to go digital? Do you want to go physical? I think it's well within the realm of possibility that the next one, and they'll probably do it even against the will of the consumer. You know what I mean? Like if the consumers, depending on how heavy weighted that is, but I would argue that most people probably don't care. Like the vocal minority are the vocal minority are because they're loud and they'll be crazy about it. But I think the majority of people probably just download the game. One of my favorite things about playing games on PC is the fact that I can pre-purchase a game the day before it comes out. I come home from work and it's already downloaded.
Yeah.
It's already ready to roll.
And for you, I mean, you mainly nowadays play mostly on the PC anyway. So there, you don't have any discs. It just you're not going to the local, I don't know, CVS and buying a PC game. It's not happening.
I mean, I have a floppy drive, but
I don't know why I said CVS. Best Buy, all right? Anything. They don't sell PC games anymore. I remember the death of PC physical games. I remember when they used to sell those, and then when they didn't. It was just gone one day.
And it's kind of a no-brainer for the developers anyway, because now they can cut the cost out of having to get a disc stamped, something printed on it, all that stuff.
And still charge you $70.
Still charge you $70. So they just just literally just widen their margin. I mean,
dude, exactly. It's crazy.
It's a no-brainer for them.
Fonz, have you talked about the fact that that Nintendo also wants to charge $70 now?
They can go to hell with what they can do.
So one of their gripes, one of the reasons, I should say not gripes, but one of the reasons they're going to $70 is because of the format they use.
720p?
No, more like 480p on some of those games. 720 is being generous there. But anyway, they're still using like a cartridge disc-based format. It's not even a disc, cartridge or whatever the heck it is. It's not. It just Nintendo never gets with the times. They just don't.
I don't understand. Like them out of all people, I don't understand why they aren't the ones that have a console that's already fully digital.
Yeah.
Like they're already space savers, right? Like they're all about making sure that their consoles are really compact, easy to travel with, handheld. At this point, like why are you guys still trying to hold on to physical? It doesn't even make any sense for their platform specifically.
With the size of the games now, I'm not seeing them being able to push forward with the next Nintendo being cartridge based again or whatever they're using. They have to move forward. These games are getting way too big. I'm surprised they got The Witcher 3, albeit at 360p, but it's on the platform, and I couldn't believe it.
Isn't it like 360p on a Nokia phone?
Does it have like 6 cartridges that come with it? Is like a
you get through the first
like Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, you gotta just you're done with Act 1. Hold on. Okay. Yeah.
Now insert
yeah. Now you play as Siri. Go to cartridge 4.
What was it? Was it Metal Gear Solid on PlayStation 3?
SD card, yeah.
No. The one that made fun of the older games. They're like, wait, Snake, it's time for you to go ahead and switch discs now. Oh, never mind. I'm just kidding. This is the brand new PlayStation 3. You don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Harry Ballsack, I do not go to CVS for blue pills. No, I don't get them refilled at CVS. I do that at the local
I get them direct ship.
Sir.
Right.
I was talking about getting a sponsor for our podcast.
The little blue
our
pills?
channel. Yeah, I was thinking about getting something like that. I could probably pull that off. You know what I mean?
You know,
yeah, right.
Hey,
Colt
do you
Eastwood's
have
in the
problems
house.
getting it up?
Oh wow, Colt Eastwood's in the house. He says that PC gamers haven't had discs to own their games since 2004. Yeah, that's about right.
I mean, when it comes to the PC space, though, you don't want to spend the extra money on a CD-ROM or a disk drive in your PC. It makes no sense. When you can,
I don't want to spend the extra money on my console anymore. I'm all digital now. Like, dude, seriously, 6 years ago, 6 years ago, I was all about that physical game. I was all about sitting at home going, I love you, disc. I can't believe all the memories we had. I
just
was
watching
that guy.
the light shine off of it, like when the sun comes in, you're like shooting it all over the room.
Exactly, blinding my cat with it. But for what it was the day I found out that you can digitally game share that changed everything for me, because I only had to buy one copy of a game, and my son didn't have to have that second copy bought. I could just share with him. And when I found that out, I go, F these discs, you're gone. And I went and I just turned them all. I sold them all. I sold all my discs. And don't own them.
I think I got, what was it? It was like in 2014 or 15. Someone got me, it was when Odyssey came out. And they gave me a disc, and I was so flipping mad. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I have to get up to put a disc in when I want to play this game? Get out of here. This is stupid.
You just leave it in. It's probably the only one that you owned. Fonz, I 100% agree with Game Share. A buddy of mine, we used to play NHL, the hockey games all the time. And every year, I would buy it one year, my buddy would buy it the other year, and then we'd use Xbox Game Share, like the family share stuff. And then that's the way that we'd be able to play it with each other, is that we just share our accounts and link our accounts together. And then that way it was like, because I'm not really big on the sports games. I don't like the fact that you have to buy the same game basically every single year.
Yeah. Same game, just different roster.
The roster changed.
The roster changed. Yeah, you're paying $60 for a roster change. So, but that's the way that we ended up like eliminating part of that cost, right? So you pay 60 one year, I paid 60 the other year. We always played the game always together anyway. So it made it great.
Yeah. Biff Rinaldi, thank you for the super chat, man. He says 600 games, one physical disc. What do you mean by that? 600 games, one physical disc. What's that about? And I'm sorry you're yawning, Pixel Slappa. I'm sorry the show is not entertaining for you, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I need to get the wig back on. I can put the wig back on.
Oh, dude. That'd make it 100 times hotter, but it's too hot for this crowd, for sure.
Oh my God.
Let's go ahead and move on. Let's talk about you know what? VR. I want to ask you guys about VR. How do you guys feel about VR gaming?
You just threw a curveball.
Yeah, I know. VR gaming. I'm talking about different genres of gaming here, like, the death of physical games, and now VR. Some people are like, this is the future. This is the way we're going to consume our games. And others like me are like, no, I get motion sickness. Sorry, I can't deal.
I get motion sickness. I'd be more of an AR person, which is augmented reality. I don't know if everyone's familiar. I did watch Digital Foundry's review of the hardware for the new PlayStation VR. I still think VR is quite a ways away from being reality. Because like the quality of games or the games themselves it's kind of all the same games. It's either on rails or it's on rails, or you're just hitting stuff. So I think if they keep trying and keep pushing it, it might end up being a thing. But for like right now, I just don't see the money is worth the investment, unless you're really unless you're super into that kind of stuff.
Have you seen the reviews for the PSVR 2? There's been a couple of reviews. One by Funny.
Oh, there's a couple people that could afford it.
Well, these were sent to them. These were professional done reviews. Okay, PlayStation. Yeah. And that's funny you brought that up because okay, first let me bring this up. So Kind of Funny Games, they reviewed it, and they all pretty much say that the OLED screen in the unit is pretty nice. It's really high end, really nice, great deep black levels and everything. Which apparently the older VR sets just didn't have deep black levels. I don't know anything about that, but it's great. However, the battery life in the controllers is horrible.
Yeah.
Like, no shit. Sony strikes again, right?
Yeah, I was about to say.
It was skinny before they attached to the.
Yeah, my PlayStation 5 controller dies like in like an hour or something like that. And I'm just watching TV.
Well, I'm just watching. But yeah, and now he said he got to an hour and a half and it went down. The battery was almost dead after an hour and a half.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't know how long you should be playing your VR headset and all that. I don't know if there's like time restrictions or they tell you to take breaks, but I'm not about that life when I game. When I sit down to game, I'll put in a good 3-4 hours, even more sometimes. So I can't do that.
You just made me feel really bad about myself.
Yeah.
Oh,
you made 3-4 hours sound hardcore. Mark and I think put in like 12 hours the other day.
Oh, I did that the other day too with Hogwarts. I did that. Yeah. But I'm just saying, normally, if I sit down to game on a normal normal Saturday or whatever, and I just got a little bit of time, I'll spend that time 3-4 hours playing a game. And for me, the PS5 controllers don't last long enough.
No.
And I had people yell at me and call me a liar for it. And I'm like, why would I lie about that? Like, I'm not console warring here. I'm just telling you. The battery life isn't that great. And I know they make fun of the batteries that you swap out of the Xbox controller, but I kind of like that. Yeah. I like it. Because I've got a bunch of rechargeable batteries and I just swap them and it's like a minute.
I have a couple of play and charge packs, man.
Yeah.
I got one. Like I have one for the PC and then I got another one over for the Xbox. So that way I can kind of swap them and go depending on what I'm doing. But just to touch on the VR thing, to throw my 2 cents in, I'm of the mind. I'm a big weeb. I watch a lot of anime, and everybody, if you've watched a little bit of anime, you've probably watched Sword Art Online at one point, right?
Are you sure you're not a PlayStation fanboy?
I am. I'm a pony.
They love anime.
You can't see his tail.
I know.
You can't see his tail. What?
I thought you'd be on with cat ears today.
I'm wearing. There's a cat girl on my shirt right now.
Where's your cat ears though?
They're in the bedroom.
Where they belong. That's what he said. Only certain people get to see the cat ears. Yeah.
So anyway, the point that I'm getting is that in this show, the idea that they have is that it's actually like kind of like a cerebral thing. Like it's actually like it's literally reality. It's taking your consciousness almost into another realm to be able to experience something. And to be honest, like I don't actually see VR ever accomplishing anything big or becoming mainstream until it can reach that level of fidelity in which it's difficult for you to be able to tell real from not, where you don't have to worry about smacking your TV screen or tripping over your cat. Where
some people, I know, I hear that, and that's still a thing too. There's still a lot of wires with this PSVR too, and I know there's some units that are wireless, but they're just not as good as the ones that are wired to something that's powerful anyway. But the price, you brought up that earlier, the price for this thing is like $550.
Yeah, that's the other problem too.
This is just and get this. People are out there defending it going, that's a steal for what you get. And I'm like, but you need the PlayStation 5 to use it. So that's another $500. So you're telling me $1,100 is what you need to play in VR.
So I feel like this is similar to like any technology though, right? So like the same thing could be said for cell phone technology back in the day, right? Like everybody looked at it and there's like, no way I'll ever be able to afford this. That was a rich man's device, those brick phones and all that stuff. But then years later, as the technology gets better and as the technology becomes more available and cheaper to make, that's when we'll finally see VR like break into the common space. Is when we finally start seeing that, when it actually becomes affordable.
There's Mark again. I knew he froze up because he was giving me those bedroom eyes the whole time, and it was creepy. creeping me out, Mark, with those bedroom eyes, man. What the hell? Anyways,
what is your son doing on his computer right now?
I got a member for 17 months, Game On Daily. Gaz, thank you very much for showing up today and giving us the googly eyes and the lips and just the weird stare. All right. He's pretending to be you, Mark. That's what
he wanted to see my cat ears. That's what it is. Gaz, I'll show them to you later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he'll show you the cat ear, Gaz. He'll show you. But yeah, VR is just, man, it's so niche right now, and it's like, I don't know how many people are on this using VR on PC and stuff, but a lot of people are saying if they would have opened it up to PC, the PSVR 2, it would sell better. It'd be more of a get.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a massive miss for them not to put it on the PC to begin with, because I mean, not throwing shade at the PlayStation, but like the VR community is on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think Valve's setup's probably better hardware wise.
But do you think that's a case? But do you think that's because they're not making much on the hardware and they want to make money on the software and they don't really have a place to sell it through the PC yet? Or I don't know.
No, man. I don't know. Sony really likes exclusivity. They just really do. They just love it.
Yeah, the propriety. The exclusivity, all that.
They love it, and they like to sell hardware. They're a hardware company. I mean, don't get me wrong; they make really good games, but they like to sell hardware, and that's what they're mainly worried about, selling hardware. So I don't know. Like I don't know where it would fit in on PC, to be honest with you. Like I said, Valve's headset and setup is pretty top notch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and with Half-Life Alyx being like one of the top rated VR games of all time.
Well, is that on rails? Or,
Alyx? I don't think it is. No,
it's not specifically on rails, but all VR games have rails moments. They just do. Just have to. It's the way they're built. So they just get out of the box with it.
That's how I think of a lot of linear games.
Otherwise, you end up walking out into the middle of the road next to your house and getting hit by a car.
Yeah, and VR chat happens to be like the largest community. So it's a lot of creepy stuff goes on there. So.
Yeah. Anyways, let's stop talking about the creepy VR stuff, because honestly, I could care less. But it was a topic. It was something that was out there in the news, and I was just like, PSVR 2, whatever. But let's talk about something else, something that we all enjoyed, and that of course was Hogwarts Legacy. Came out a week ago. But I actually got it. I pre-ordered it. I didn't pre-order it, but I guess I did. I bought it the day it released for pre-orders. Okay. I saw that they had it cheaper on a website, and I got it for $68. I got the deluxe edition, so I could play it that night, and get it a few days early. So I started to play it, and I was just consumed with this game. And I knew I had a big Sasquatch hunting trip to embark on, but I wanted to get some Hogwarts time in before that trip. And I put in about 2.5 days before I went on this trip. And the whole time I was searching for Sasquatch, I kept thinking about this game. Okay. And when I came back to it, I've done nothing but be a degenerate and play this freaking game. And then today, folks, I beat this game.
You became a wizard.
I am now a wizard.
You're a wizard, Fonz.
I am a wizard, and I've learned all the 3 curses.
Oh, whoa!
I can say fuck. Oh no, not those curses, but the curses in the game. Guys, seriously, what did you feel about the game? Mark, starting with you, man.
I'm a big Wizarding World fan, right? Of the as you saw, my Snape get up is a little treat, but this game, it met all the expectations and exceeded some other ones.
I had zero expectations. Zero.
I went into this game thinking we were just going to get another AAA broken game. Like it looks pretty, but it runs crappy. And this is a really, really solid, good game. Like they made immersive, man. I felt like a wizard. You know what I mean? It just like you see all the keynotes and stuff from the movies and the books and everything else. But the beautiful thing about this game is you don't have to know anything about Harry Potter or any of that universe to enjoy this game because it's that good.
Facts. Yeah, Ian.
Man,
Debbie Downer.
So I was fortunate. Yeah, I was fortunate when this game came out. Well, fortunate and unfortunate. I was very sick at the time the game came out. So my entire time while I was out of work, I played it, and I enjoyed every single second. Everything about the game, from its fidelity, the world building, the questing, the way that they designed the main story and the side quests to intertwine with one another. Where a lot of that side content, I probably wouldn't have gone to experience. I probably would have just stuck to the main story, ran it all the way through, and then did extra stuff if I felt like it on the side. They did a really, really good job. It's probably one of the most impressive things in the game is how well they bring the side narratives in, all the side stories in with the main story.
Yep. Especially Sebastian's, I thought was really good.
Yeah. Yes. Actually, you know what? I liked Poppy Sweetings.
Oh, hers was great too. Yes.
With
the drag.
Yeah. The other girl, I didn't really like hers that much. It didn't have as much impact for some reason. Like it was just it felt half
pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
It just felt kind of. It was like, I want to go kill these people. Why? Well, because they're bullies.
Yeah. Yep.
That's it. It's just like, oh, okay, well, but I think the questing was really cool. I think the combat was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, this was just a very well made, solid AAA title.
Yeah, no, it really was. And it blew me away because, first of all, it wasn't on my radar at all. And then as we saw more gameplay of it just about a month ago, it started to pique my interest a bit because I liked what I saw. And I still wasn't sure because it's wand combat. I was just like, come on, wand combat? Like no sword, no bow and arrow, or you're fighting with this wand. Like, is that going to be fun? So then a good friend of mine, shout out to Xbox Obi, he was streaming it on TikTok, and I was watching his gameplay, and it looked like a lot of fun. And that night was the night I bought it. I was like, yep, I'm getting it, and downloaded it. And loved it since, and even loved the ending. I had a great time with it. Yeah, it's got its faults. It's got some quests that were not memorable at all, and some that I don't want to remember, but I unfortunately do. But it had some great side missions, some great main missions. And here's the beauty of this game. A lot of people out there were telling me, oh, it's a Harry Potter game. It's a kiddie game. It's childish. Dude, do you see some of the stuff that happens in the combat? This is not a little kiddie game. Like, dude, you're exploding people in this game.
So the funny thing is that like towards the end of the game, they actually bring it into the narrative that, yeah, by the way, you've been killing all of these people.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand it. You're going to learn the forbidden curse. You're going to learn the killing spell. I'm like, I've killed thousands already. Thousands. They're dead. They lie in my wake. Which, by the way, I was not a child in this game. I was a Jedi master in this game. That's the way I felt. I was a full-fledged adult Jedi master, just controlling the elements no, not the elements, but some. I was doing things in this game that really made me feel powerful. And by the end of the game, I got so powerful that like nothing could touch me. And I felt, and that feels to me, that is the best part of a big RPG, is when you can get to that point where you're so overpowered and you're like, F you. I like that. Some people are like, I don't like it because it's not challenging. No, when I get to that point, it's by the end of the game anyway.
You've earned it.
I love it. I've earned it. Yep.
You've earned it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
I think My favorite part of the combat was when you could curse like multiple people and then just
Yep.
Avacadabra one of them and they all die instantly. Is so good.
That's literally what I was about to say. I'm like the feeling you get when you Crucio and then it spreads to like 5 other people and then you have Avacadabra and then everything just dies. You're like, well, all right, we're done.
Yeah, I would turn people into exploding barrels and just throw it at others and they would just explode. And I was just like, this is freaking amazing. Like, I didn't view this as a Harry Potter game. For me, because I don't know much about Harry Potter, for me, this was a fantasy RPG that was just well done.
For really all intents and purposes, it's not a Harry Potter game.
It's not.
No. It's 200 years before, but
yeah, it's a Hogwarts game.
Still,
so
it's a Potter game.
Yeah,
it's a Potter game without Potter.
It's a wizard game.
It's a wizard,
dude. It's a lot of fun, and that's why people out there that are on the fence and thinking this is a kiddie game, it's not. It's not at all. And you don't have to be a fan of the shows, just like Mark was saying. You don't have to be a fan of those movies. You don't have to be a fan of the books. Like this is just a standalone thing. It's very cool. The battle arenas were pretty fun to do. I tried to do so much in this game. I got done with so many things, and then I got to the point where, like today, I just said, I'm going to go ahead and finish it because I feel like I've done everything I want to do. And that's the beauty of games like this. This is what I was trying to get at earlier. I've heard some people, a good friend of mine, shout out to Mr. Randall Thor 19, the man with $1 million. He told me that he doesn't like all the Ubisoft tropes in this game. Basically, there's a lot of stuff to do on the map, and he feels like it's just so much running around doing things. He did a lot. He beat the game. He loved it too, but he thought that it was a bit much. The Ubisoft tropes, those don't bother me. And here's the reason why Ubisoft tropes don't bother me, because it's optional. Now, if they had made it to where you needed to do all this stuff, then it would annoy me. But it's optional. It's strictly optional. If you're not like me, I'm not into achievement hunting at all in games or trophy hunting. I'm just not. Stuff like that don't bother me. I see all these things on the map. I think, cool. I could either do all this stuff or not. At least it's there for me if I do want to do it. I love that.
And I mean, I'm a big proprietor of hating the Ubisoft tropes too. But I didn't have to climb up one flipping tower in this game to unlock the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the map was unlocked from the first minute.
All of the stuff that you see on the map to do, most of it is completely optional. It's like it is completely optional.
Yeah,
added in stuff, but their side questing stuff actually meant something towards the story. You know what I mean? So it wasn't. I think that was a bad analogy on his part, to be honest with you. I don't see it the same way as he did.
He's right in that it's considered Ubisoft tropes, but it's something that doesn't really bother me. I've always viewed stuff that's optional as a good thing. In games, if there's a lot to do there, then if it's good anyway, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
Now, if it's a lot of stuff that's extra that isn't fun, I'm just not going to do it. I'm simply just going to beeline the story and have it at that. Just be done with it. But no, I loved my time here. I put in 55 hours. Thought it was a really good game, and none of it ever felt like it was too much for me, everything that I did. And I got to the point where you'll see later in this video where I even got the stupid robe that glows and everything that, you got to find the keys for and all that.
Yeah, see, Mark, I told you that it exists, that wasn't just a Slytherin thing.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
It's for everybody. Every house has one.
I mean, I've got to do a Hufflepuff playthrough because they do have a mission that's not in the other ones. So
do they really?
Yeah. Yeah, you go to a prison.
Azkaban.
You just want to go to Miss Garlick's class again. Don't
man.
You
never mess out the nice way to say it. You never mess with crazy.
Hey, I'm just saying, you guys need to stay off of Reddit because there's some fan art you don't need to see.
Yeah.
Oh,
for sure,
man. Miss Garlick. Yeah.
One of the things that's really mind blowing about Hogwarts Legacy is the fact that Fonz, I put 50 hours into this game and I did none of the side stuff. I did not go and unlock the Merlin stuff. I didn't go and do like side missions. Like I maybe did like a couple where I was, you go into a village and somebody's like, I need some potions or something like that. Like there was some of that stuff I did. I did put some decent amount of time into the room of requirement.
Oh, right? I did too. I love that stuff. I love when they let you just play with things like that and create your own materials. I love that.
But like, how wild is it that there's 50 hours of game here without a lot of side content? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I can't really speak on that because I did look for a lot of things. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off for certain things out there in the world. And then I noticed that some things wouldn't pop on the map right away until you get close to it, right? There would be like foes and stuff that you can fight against that counted towards an achievement that would pop on the map as skulls. But you had to get there to that spot to actually pop that on the map. And I didn't know about this till later because I was looking through all the challenges and I was like, wait a minute, what are all these foes? And I looked on the map and I saw that there were skulls there and there was still stuff for me to go beat. And I was already high level and I went over there and just destroyed everything, just real easy. But yeah, it's a fun game. The combat, I think, is where it shines the most for me. It was really well done. I thought the mechanics were really good. And it was the one area I was really skeptical about was the combat, but they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. My only major gripe with the game is that I don't even know if it's, the Mandela effect where you think that this is what the developer said, and it probably could have just been, some Yahoo on Twitter, but our choices didn't matter. Like the choices that you do, don't really matter.
There's a couple of things where it does matter, and I don't want to spoil it on the air here, but there is a couple that do matter to a degree. It's not like life altering stuff. No.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like there's no consequences.
Especially when you're learning the curse spells. There's no real consequence for that. I mean, that's
a massive point.
Yeah.
So
that's huge. Because as Harry Potter fans, and Mark will attest to this, standing next to your professors and using Avada Kedavra.
I know.
And they go, what was that? You're like, come on, you know what that was.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, there was consequences for one of the kids if you were to choose something. Some major consequences, but that's seriously, I don't want to spoil anything, but the game is really good. If I had to score it, I would give it, I honestly, I'd probably give it a 9. I thought it was that good.
Wow.
Really liked it.
So, I mean, spoiler alert, we talked about this.
Yeah.
And I've thought about it more and more, and I'm still sitting on a strong 8. Like it doesn't do anything new, but it does everything that's not new well.
Yes.
It's just a really well solid made game with a ton of content that you get for the low price of $60, I think.
Well,
I don't know how much it is on console.
70. It's 70 on console.
Oh, it was 60 on Steam.
It's 70 on console.
But either way, like it's a game that's giving you what you're paying for. Yep. However, one of the things that a discussion I would actually like to have in regards to this is that we've had some pretty wild shifts in quality of AAA titles over the last few years, where a lot of them just haven't met the mark. We haven't been getting our money's worth for AAA titles, I would say, for quite a while. I mean, there's a couple that come out and they hit the mark, but most don't. Do you think a game like this going forward changes that? Do you think it sets a new standard?
I don't know. The only thing I could think of is what we're getting in the immediate future. And right now I'm looking at games like Atomic Heart and games that are really different. I tend to compare certain types of games, certain genres with other games of certain genres, of the same genre, I should say. And for me, this it raises some bars in that I love the fact that everything that they did mechanically in the game, they did very well. Whereas some other games that I'll point out here, and some people might say, that's a bad take or whatever, but it's my take. The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 is an amazing game. The Witcher 3, I still hold above this game. I think the stories in The Witcher 3 are incredible. I think the game itself, the setting, everything, just an incredibly well done game. But the combat is nowhere near as satisfying as Hogwarts.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean they're different.
Yeah, but
right?
they're
they're
both
very different
big
games.
They're both
One's
sort of
melee
fantasy RPGs, though.
Yeah.
It's different. But where are you going to find combat that's similar to Hogwarts? What would you say was even similar to this? It's
like Star Wars games.
Yeah, but it doesn't do as much.
No,
okay.
You had way more spells in this game.
I just want you to think about it this way, okay? Just pretend that your character is actually moving out of its space, okay? Instead of standing there casting, just pretend that they're moving.
Yeah.
This is the same combat as your Arkham's, your Spider-Man. It's the exact same combat. You've got a yellow for your deflect, your red for a dodge, and you're spamming an attack. Let's say it was X button. You're doing a trigger instead of an X button. It's the same combat. You're just standing in one spot.
Yeah,
it's the same combat mechanic.
That freaking guy just flew. Watch, I just hit him right here. Boom! And he just takes off. I've done that several times in this game. It made me laugh out loud. One guy flew off a cliff so far. I was like, what the?
I feel like I kind of have to debate on this one. Like the combat didn't really sell me on this. Like I felt like at times it was really fun, but I think more and more and the further I got into the game, like it just became non-challenging because it was like, my head's glowing, dodge. Oh, my head's glowing, dodge.
Yeah. And I beg to differ. Put that on hard, because I've tried it on hard and I went to the battle arenas. Yeah, you can dodge some things, but there's some things that were damn near impossible to dodge. It gets tough.
I don't want to be that guy, but I put it on hard from the get-go.
Oh, okay. But it did get tough in the battle arenas. It did get tough in some of those situations.
And actually, you know what?
When you're going one-on-one, or you're going
Curses arena, that one gave me a pretty good struggle.
But if you're doing like even 4-on-1, it's not that hard. It's pretty easy to do. But you get really powerful in the game. Earlier on, it's hard. You can't do stuff like this and just one shot things. It just doesn't happen. But I just thought the combat is really fun, and I feel like
it was fun
for an RPG. It's just it's great. It's a great RPG. If you're into RPGs, open worlds like I am, yeah, you're gonna have a good time for sure.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed and appreciated the fact that by the time you're at the end of the game, like you're essentially just on God mode.
Yep. That's why I told you I like
that's
that
how every
aspect.
Game should be.
That's how I feel that games like this should be. You should be, if you've earned that and you're just a tough badass by the end of the game, that's just the way it should be, man. I really feel that. That's
the beauty of single player games that a lot of people like. You miss out on the when you have the multiplayer games. When you finish a single player game, let's say God of War, you feel like you are the best Kratos in the world because that was you, right? You don't have anybody to mix up against. Fonz, when you finish this game, you were the best wizard out of Hogwarts. You know what I mean? Like it was your deal. That's the beauty of a single player game, that it lets you get to that point to where you feel like you've earned your power and you're just good to go. And you throw it on online, then you get to see all the people who paid extra for the extra coat and they look prettier. They get all that stuff. But
some dude has more time than you and he has way better gear, stuff like that. Yeah.
See, the coat I'm wearing there is the one you get from your house. But anyways, no, it was a good game. Mark, what would you rate it though, if you had to put a number?
Man, I'm like, I'm probably a solid 8. Like this is a solid 8 game. And like I said, the only thing that I knocked points on it for were, and not to spoil it, is like your options at the end. They don't mean anything at that point. For me, they didn't mean anything. So like it was a really great game. Great game.
I will
love
say
the
that
story.
you will get 2 different endings, and
Yeah.
because I've tried them both, you will get 2 kind of one open ending, and the other one is supposedly the good ending. I don't know.
I didn't take the good one.
Yeah, go back and try the other one. You have a save point, I'm sure. You can.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Anyways, I got a super chat here from Mandingo McThickens. He says, "Hey Fonz, is that my cousin in the chat, Harry? Are you talking about Harry Ballsack? I don't know. Anyways, he said, I am having a ball with Hogwarts. So far, I'm somewhere between an 8 and 9, closer to 9. It's really good. Yep. It's really good. Yeah. I mean, 8's a great score. 8 is not bad at all.
No,
that's considered great.
But so you were telling me you were thinking this is you think this is Game of the Year nomination
for me right now. It's my
material.
Game of the Year personally, and I think it's Game of the Year material for sure. And here's my question, and I know a lot of people, Nintendo heads, are going to get mad at me, but what will Zelda do that's different in this next game?
Cost $70. I don't know.
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
That is 10 points.
I heard somebody say this, and I didn't even think of it like this. I've always had a problem with Breath of the Wild, and I didn't know what it was. Like, I enjoyed the game; it was a good game. And the way that they said it makes sense. Breath of the Wild is a very good game. It's just not a very good Zelda game. If that makes sense. And that has been my issue with it. It didn't feel like a Zelda. It didn't feel like a Zelda game to me. It felt, but it was a good game.
Because everybody's considering that Game of the Year this year before it's even out. People are like, "That's Game of the Year."
No.
There's so many people that say this.
Dude, this is such a hot year for games.
It really is. It really is, and it started off very strong. And Hogwarts is a great way to kick things off. We had Hi-Fi Rush. You guys probably didn't play any of Hi-Fi Rush. But that was a pretty good game.
We both
solid
did.
game. Yeah, solid game.
We play our Xbox.
Yeah, we love Xbox. Calm down, Fonz.
He said we love Xbox.
Yeah,
Anyways,
no, we both played Hi-Fi Rush. It was good. It was fantastic. I think it's like I like games like that. I like the fact that that was Bethesda, right?
Tango, yeah, but
Tango,
but still, it's
Bethesda publisher. Yeah,
but it's one of the things like I like seeing companies that typically don't make games like that going and thinking outside of the box and bringing out really cool new. This is the year of new IPs.
Yeah,
we're not getting this isn't our year of 4s and 5s except for Halo, or sorry, not Halo. Final Fantasy 16,
Forza.
right?
I hate to cut you off, but Mandingo McThickens with another super chat says, "Oh, regarding the 4-on-1 thing, now we're talking." And he probably said it that way
your
too.
Chat?
I've got the best chat in the world, man.
You do.
These guys are awesome. Dave agrees with you though, Mark. He agrees with you. He thinks that he'd rather see the old Zelda return. He'd like a game.
Yeah.
Like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask,
a Zelda game.
Yeah. Ocarina of Time is my favorite.
I think
Hands
Wind
down my
Waker.
favorite Zelda.
Wind Waker was probably the last good Zelda game.
Yeah, I never played Breath of the Wild, so I don't know. But I know my son has. He says it's pretty good. But what does he know? He doesn't know the old Zeldas. We'll see what happens. We've got a lot to look forward to. Next week, or no, actually this coming Friday, I think we're going to have Atomic Heart.
Monday.
Yeah. 23rd, right?
Isn't it? I thought it was the 20th.
No, it's 23rd.
Wow.
I think it's 23rd.
Atomic Heart, that's another big game we're going to have. And we were talking before the show, we've got supposedly Lies of P, which is another Souls-like game coming in August. So that's a big one. We've got the beta for Diablo 4 coming in when? March.
That is March 23rd.
March. And I know you're excited for it. If you guys have not watched Ian's Diablo 4 video, please go watch that. It's really good. It's got like 130,000 freaking views on it. If you haven't watched it, I'd be surprised. It's got so many. But Ian and Mark both make some great videos on legendary drops. Go see them, guys. With that,
Atomic Heart, they're showing Atomic Heart on the 20th on Game Pass.
Oh, okay. Well, I've got Game Pass, baby, so I'm going to be playing it day one. That's all it's
That's
about.
right. So do I.
Is Game Pass.
I'm gonna be cannibalizing up those games.
Oh, cannibalize away. That's what I say. I never understood this whole thing. We need to buy the games, guys. We have to support the devs. They were supported handsomely before the game got put into Game Pass. We're there to consume the games that are there for us because we're paying for this service.
Yeah, Game Pass is a service, and it's Microsoft's job to curate content to us. That's their strictly job is just to curate content. We pay for the service, they curate the content, we play it. Yep. Don't feel bad if you think that someone so and so is not going to get their money. Just
if you feel that way, go ahead, buy the game if you want to. By all means, like nobody's stopping you. Buy 3 copies.
Tip your Witcher. You know what I mean?
Tip your Witcher.
Yeah.
Toss a coin.
Yeah. Kay Asante, thank you very much, brother. I've had him on the show as well before. I got to have you back, man. He says, dropping some coin to show my support to the brother Fonz and the great show. Thank you. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, check out Kay Asante. It eludes me now. I forgot the name of your podcast, brother. Drop it in the chat. But yeah, he's got a great podcast he does with Everborn Saga. They got a good little thing going on. But you guys, before we leave, what game are you looking forward to most this year?
Oh, I hate you for this, Fonz.
There's so many good ones, but
honestly, like it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3 for me. Is going to be the
really
one
Baldur's Gate out of nowhere.
Yeah, it comes out in September. We've been playing it for the last 2 years.
I thought you were
in early access
20 years because that's
in early
last
access.
time I've played a Baldur's Gate was like 20 years ago.
And if you played Original Sin or Divinity 2 Original Sin, it's the same developers.
I tried it. Yeah.
And it's I'm telling you, this game, man, it's gonna be up there for Game of the Year this year. And it'll definitely be my Game of the Year for sure.
I would actually be surprised if it's not Game of the Year. Genuinely surprised. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like unless Starfield is this like crazy knock out of the park, it meets every expectation and more, then it's going to be Baldur's Gate.
Usually it comes down to popularity too. So
it can, but like
Jeff Keighley loves
Baldur's Gate, and he loves Larian.
Yeah.
He was recently on their they have what they call the panel from hell, where they give these really cool updates, and they're all dressed in like knight armor and stuff. It's hilarious if you guys get the chance to go watch it. But
is that yours as well? Your most anticipated?
No, mine's Final Fantasy 16.
Oh my god.
Oh man, there's a
PlayStation game.
Weeb PlayStation fanboy.
I feel attacked.
No, come on.
Oh my!
No, I know
he is truly a pony now. Did you hear that, guys?
What I like is that you guys do play the games wherever they're at, just like I do. That's just the way you should be. And as a gamer, it shouldn't matter where you play. Don't shame me for my Mac. It does wonderful things with Oregon Trail.
Okay, you went all the way around this way just to bring up Mac. No one said anything about you. Whoa. You pipe down there, buddy.
We're talking about beachfront property, and you're over here talking about the hood.
I could probably have ray tracing on Oregon Trail. Probably.
They don't make ray tracing for anything with Mac though.
There's a workaround to get Steam working right, like a PC emulator on Mac, and it actually runs pretty well.
But anyway, that's the end of the show, guys. That's the end. We're done. We're getting out of here. There's two. You've podcasted for almost 2 hours today, and then you come over here to this show. It's already been like an hour and 14 minutes. So
we could go for another like 3 if you wanted, man.
Oh, let's go for another 4.
I'm down.
Kay Asante real quick says, isn't that a problem though? Because Keighley loves a game. It's a shoe-in for Game of the Year. That's an issue. Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think that's an issue?
Well, in the instance of Baldur's Gate 3, no, because it's going to deserve it.
No, it is. I mean, it is an issue. But like I said,
is Baldur's Gate going to be on console as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
you're
if it
gonna
wasn't
have
on
to get it. You're
console,
gonna
I
have to
wouldn't
get
see
it,
it.
and you're gonna have to do a playthrough with this. It'll be fun.
Is it cross-platform?
Yes,
It should be. Yeah, it will be.
Okay. Yeah, let's play together. That'll be fun.
All right.
We'll role
let's do
play.
it.
We'll role play. I'll put on the cat ears and
And he'll put on the Snape wig.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll put on the tassels.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope Mandingo McThickens ain't in here to hear all that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Before we cut off and run away, I especially because I feel like for a lot of you console folks, Baldur's Gate 3 is probably not on your radar just because like its ecosystem's been on Steam and the early access and beta portion and stuff like that has been on Steam.
yeah,
You guys haven't looked at stuff for it, go check it out because I can't underscore like how crazy the game is.
yeah, that's crazy. I will look it up now because you guys have piqued my interest. But Final Fantasy 16 for you, Baldur's Gate 3 for you, Mark, and for me, it's man, Starfield. It's Starfield, people. Starfield. That's what it is. Starfield.
Predictable
And-
fonts.
And look at Mark. He's stuck again, frozen in time.
You know what?
Staring
Honestly,
at
he
you.
looks great.
But he's giving you those eyes, man. That it's
Those
weird.
dead
Mark,
eyes.
Mark. Right now
Come
he looks
back to us.
he looks like a Bethesda game right now. You know,
Oh God.
like a Bethesda NPC.
This is Starfield, everybody. This is what Starfield's gonna look like.
Oh, geez, the dead eyes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, anyways, we're gonna end the show. Tell everybody, Ian, where they can find you guys. You're on the same channel. That's the good thing.
We are. You guys can find us at Legendary Drops. That's YouTube/Legendary Drops, or no, is it at, right? Yeah. That's right.
At.
YouTube/@ Legendary Drops on YouTube. I am also on Twitter at Legendary_Drops. Mark, the co-host of our podcast, he is at Just Gaming Pod. I think links are down below, and
I'm throwing them up on the screen right now too. Just Gaming Pod
we
for
do
Mark.
dual triangle of content. We have a podcast that goes on every Sunday, actually just before Fonz's, usually about 2 p.m. Pacific time.
They copied me for Sundays.
Yeah, and then I have more essay style long form content that I do. I have 2 videos right now that you guys can go watch, which is one on Final Fantasy 14 and World of Warcraft, and another one that's on Diablo 4. Actually, this week, it would be next week. Next week, I have one that's coming out on a game called Dark and Darker for any of you PC folks, and another video that's actually also in the works right now as well. That's kind of just about modern gaming in general.
He's actually making some great content over there. I really like his style of video and everything. Really good stuff, people. I support these guys 100%. And if you're anything like me, you will too. And with that said, guys, thank you for showing up today. Thank you for listening on all the streaming platforms out there. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, game on.